All right, so get this. You wanted the tea on Miss Universe, right?
All the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, not just who's going to win, but all the drama, especially with the judges this year.
Ooh, yeah, this is going to be good.
You came to the right place. We are diving deep into a world of glitz and glam and some serious eyebrow-raising moments. I'm excited.
This year's pageant is really interesting. It's
Yeah.
reflecting this shift in what we value, I think.
Okay.
Like, it's less about finding that, perfect winner.
Yeah, the perfectly packaged way.
And more about the stories.
Yeah.
And the experiences that these women bring to the table.
Okay, I'm already seeing that.
Yeah.
So we've got the 73rd Miss Universe competition coming up.
November 16th.
November 16th.
Which is November 17th.
For those of you in Manila,
Yeah.
it's all going down at the Arena CDMX in Mexico City, and over 120 delegates are competing.
Can you imagine
Oh my gosh.
that many people?
But let's be real.
Yeah.
There's one contestant I think you're probably curious about.
Chelsea Manalo,
Yeah.
representing the Philippines. She's aiming to be the 5th Filipina to win the title.
Wow.
And she's the first black woman to ever represent the Philippines in Miss Universe.
Now that's what I call making history.
Incredible.
But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, so one of the judges, Nova Stevens,
Yeah.
is a former Miss Universe Canada contestant.
Herself.
Herself.
And she didn't even place in her year, which was back in 2020.
Really?
Actually, it was held in 2021 because of the pandemic.
Oh, right.
But you get the outcome.
Okay, wait, hold up. A former contestant who didn't win is now judging.
I know.
That's got to be pretty rare.
It is very unusual.
All right.
And it tells us something, I think, about how the Miss Universe organization might be evolving.
Okay.
You see, having someone like Nova on the judging panel suggests they're looking for more than just a pretty face.
Interesting.
They're valuing resilience advocacy and a story that goes beyond the competition itself.
Okay, so we're not just talking about who's going to rock the swimsuit competition anymore.
Ex-
But wait, there's more to Nova's story.
There is.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
Something about a controversy with a designer.
This is where things get a little messy.
Ooh.
Remember I mentioned that the Miss Universe organization is highlighting Nova's resilience?
Uh-huh.
Well, a big part of that stems from a public clash she had with Filipino designer Michael Cinco,
Oh my gosh.
who also happens to be a judge this year.
Talk about awkward.
Can you imagine?
Ooh, the plot thickens. Spill the tea. What went down between them?
So after Nova competed in 2020, her team publicly accused Cinco of sabotaging her performance
Sabotaging.
by providing ill-fitting gowns that arrived late.
Oh, no.
And naturally, this led to a ton of online hate directed at Nova,
Really?
even death threats.
Wow, that's heavy. So how did the Cinco respond to all of this?
Well, Cinco, who's a big deal in the fashion world,
Yeah.
has dressed tons of celebrities,
Yeah.
completely denied the sabotage claims.
He did.
Yeah, he presented his side of the story, showing evidence that the gowns were delivered on time and were tailored to Nova's measurements.
Wow.
He even pointed out that he flew her to Dubai for a photo shoot
I'm on
before the competition to boost her publicity.
So basically, a he said, she said situation.
It really was.
What happened next? Did things just blow over?
Eventually, Nova and her publicist issued a public apology to Cinco,
They.
admitting the accusations were unfounded
Wow.
and expressing regret for the online hate he had received.
Okay, so apologies were made.
Yeah.
But you can't just erase a public feud like that. Imagine the tension in that judging room.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
You know?
We're not just watching a pageant.
Yeah.
We're getting a glimpse into the complexities of these personal relationships
Oh, yeah.
and how they might impact the competition.
It's going to be juicy.
Buckle up.
I know. You know, it's wild to think about Nova being a judge, especially considering the history of beauty pageants.
Yeah.
They haven't always been the most inclusive or diverse places.
Right.
And her presence feels like a step in a new direction.
It does, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Having her there, with her outspoken advocacy for racial justice and mental health,
Yeah,
it could signal a real shift for the Miss Universe organization.
right.
It's almost like they're acknowledging those past criticisms
Yeah.
and saying, hey, we're evolving.
Right, exactly. It makes you wonder if we're going to see some concrete changes in how the competition is judged. Like, could advocating for important causes
Yeah.
become just as important as nailing that evening gown walk?
It's certainly a possibility.
Right.
Imagine the impact
Yeah.
if speaking out about social issues becomes a key factor in who wins Miss Universe.
Whoa.
We could see a whole new generation of contestants inspired to use their platform for change.
That's a powerful thought. But let's not forget,
Yeah.
Michael Cinco is right there on that judging panel, too.
Oh, he is.
This whole situation feels like a powder keg waiting to explode.
Oh, it really does. It's like
Okay.
a real-life drama unfolding right before our eyes.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that Chelsea Manalo, representing the Philippines, will be judged by the very designer who had this huge controversy
Oh, my gosh.
with a former Miss Universe Canada.
Wow, yeah.
Whoa, I hadn't even thought of that. Talk about adding another layer of complexity.
I know.
How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, on the one hand, you hope that everyone can be professional and impartial,
Right.
focusing on the competition itself.
Of course.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Personal experiences and biases inevitably come into play.
Totally. And for Chelsea Manalo, there's the added pressure of being the first Black woman to represent the Philippines.
Absolutely.
She's already making history.
She is.
But I imagine the scrutiny must be intense.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah.
It's a huge step forward for representation.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder how the judges, particularly Nova and Cinco,
Right.
with their own experiences, will respond to her.
Yeah.
Will they be extra sensitive to any potential bias?
Mm-hmm.
Or will their past conflict overshadow everything?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like we're witnessing a collision of personal stories, social issues, and the evolution of beauty standards all within this one competition.
Exactly. And that's why this deep dive is so compelling.
I know.
We're not just talking about a pageant.
Right.
We're talking about the world at large.
Yeah.
Miss Universe has become a microcosm of the conversations happening around diversity, inclusion, and the power of representation.
Yeah. It makes you realize that these conversations are relevant to all of us,
They really are.
no matter who we are or where we come from.
You know, as we're talking about all this, I can't help but think about this concept called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of that.
It's a Nguni Bantu term
Okay.
that essentially means recognizing our sheer humanity and interconnectedness.
Okay, Ubuntu, how does it relate to what we're discussing here?
Well, think about Nova and Cinco.
Okay.
Despite their conflict, they both share this experience of being publicly scrutinized and facing online hate. It's a point connection, a reminder that even when we disagree, we're all human beings with shared vulnerabilities.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this concept applies. Could Ubuntu be the key to healing old wounds and fostering a more compassionate and understanding environment, not just in the pageant world, but in society as a whole?
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It really is.
Imagine a world where we approach disagreements with empathy and a willingness to see things from each other's perspectives.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a little idealistic,
maybe so.
but it's something to strive for.
I agree. It's like we're talking about a radical shift in how we approach conflict.
Yes.
Moving away from blame and judgment towards understanding and forgiveness.
And wouldn't it be incredible if the Miss Universe competition could actually embody that spirit of Ubuntu?
Wow.
Instead of just focusing on who has the best walk or the most beautiful smile,
Right.
what if it became a platform for promoting unity, empathy,
Yeah.
and a true celebration of diversity?
That would be amazing. It would send such a powerful message to the world, especially in these times when division and polarization seem to be everywhere.
It really would.
Yeah.
It would remind us that even in a seemingly superficial world of beauty pageants,
Right.
there's room for depth, meaning, and a genuine connection to our shared humanity.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from backstage drama to philosophical concepts like Ubuntu. You might be wondering,
Yeah.
what does all of this have to do with me?
Good question.
Why should I care about the inner workings of Miss Universe?
Well, think about it this way. We often see these big events, like beauty pageants,
Yeah.
as just entertainment. But what we've uncovered in this deep dive is that there's a lot more going on beneath the surface.
Right.
It's a reflection of our society, our values, and the conversations we're having about diversity, representation, and even the very definition of beauty.
It's like holding up a mirror to ourselves.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, we see the struggles, the triumphs, the complexities of human relationships playing out on this global stage.
Exactly. And by understanding those dynamics, by seeing the personal stories behind the contestants and the judges,
Yeah.
we can start to examine our own assumptions and biases.
It's about recognizing that these issues aren't just confined to the world of Miss Universe.
No.
They're present in our everyday lives, in our workplaces, our communities, and even within our own families.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all navigating these questions of inclusion, representation, and what it means to be a part of a diverse society.
Right.
And sometimes seeing these issues play out in a setting like Miss Universe can provide a new perspective.
For sure, it can spark those important conversations about how we treat each other, how we celebrate our differences, and how we work towards creating a more just and equitable world.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
So as you watch this year's Miss Universe competition,
Yeah.
I encourage you to keep all of this in mind.
Okay.
Look beyond the glitz and the glamour and pay attention to the stories being told.
Right. Think about the challenges these women have overcome, the causes they champion, and how their experiences resonate with your own life.
Yeah, and most importantly, don't be afraid to have those tough conversations with the people around you.
Yeah.
Talk about what you've learned. Share your perspectives and challenge each other to think differently.
Because real change starts with dialogue, with empathy, and with a willingness to listen to each other's stories.
It really does. So we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Miss Universe.
Oh,
But the conversation doesn't have to end here.
I know.
We leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
Knowing everything we've discussed, how do you think this year's competition will unfold? Will we see Nova and Cinco put aside their past differences and judge fairly? Will Chelsea Manalo face any additional hurdles as the first Black Filipino representative? Will this be a turning point for the Miss Universe organization, embracing a more inclusive and socially conscious approach?
We don't have the answers, but I encourage you to keep watching, keep questioning, and keep engaging in these important conversations.
too.
Because that's what makes these deep dives so rewarding. The chance to learn something new, to challenge our perspectives, and to connect with each other on a deeper level. Tune in next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic. And until then, keep exploring the world with curiosity and an open mind.
I love that.